Welcome, everyone. Hi. First, I would like to introduce myself. I am Lindsay Phillips. I've been in this field for the past 13 years. I currently work at Marimore Industries.
Hi, I'm Jana McVetta. I work here for the County Board, Quality and Support Services Department, and have been in the field for 22 years.
I'm Ann Dunbar. I'm the intake coordinator at Allen County DD and I've been in the field almost 25.
Also, this week is DSP recognition, so thank you to everything all of you guys. So, if you've never been to a learning lunch, welcome. If you have, you kind of know what to expect. A year ago, maybe a little more, we kind of did this. So if you've seen it, it's kind of going to be a refresher to you. If not, it's something new to you. So first off, we will get started. So you want to make a difference. We're going to start talking about mental models and kind of how things traditionally used to be versus where we want them to go now. Mental models mean our mental framework of what we believe and be based on, our assumptions, values, beliefs, our training, and our past experience. The DD Land mental model, looking at things differently. So if you look at this face, what do you see? Or this picture, what do you see first?
I see both, but
Initially you saw one.
Oh, the old lady now.
Okay, so we're going to flip, and now you'll see, here's the young lady looking out this way, and then you can kind of see the old lady looking down this way. You guys see both of them now? No. Did you say no?
Which
one don't you see?
Yeah.
I see it.
Okay, so here's the younger lady looking out. Here's her hair, ear, and then the older lady with the scarf maybe over her hair. So, just kind of looking at that, we all kind of saw things differently. Traditionally, we used to be staff-directed, an enforcer. People had to earn what they like, their value. You can't have a pop until you do this, or you can't go on the outing until you complete this. And then also control imposed by others. DD Land mental model, traditional thinking.
The Shawnee bus is out front for unloading for preschool, and there's a little one out there doing the potty dance if someone can come out and get them right away. Thanks.
So ESPs, which all of you are, in the DD system just create headaches for their supervisors. This is what was traditional thinking. For the best interest of the employee, staff, in the DD field, we need to write them up to teach them a lesson. How many times have you heard, I'm going to write you up? And, is that necessary to identify that? I'm going to write you up. Success for DD employee staff is no MUIs, perfect documentation, and no call-offs. That's not true. We have call-offs all the time. We have MUIs. MUIs don't have to be bad. There can be good MUIs. Yes, there can be bad MUIs, but as long as we're doing our job and reporting, that's what's important. Direct support frontline professionals are not typically valued or appreciated for their skills and contributions. I know I was direct care when I first started for the first 11 years, and there were times where I didn't feel valued or appreciated, and I didn't feel like people cared what we were doing. Your job is, in my opinion, I feel one of the most important jobs because you have other people's lives in your hand, and to make sure that we're all making the shift to the more positive and what's important to that person than being the enforcer and telling people what they have to do. So then, increase skills and direct support professionals. We need to offer encouragement all the time, listen to understand. Sometimes we're listening to form a response, or we're not really listening, we're forming our own response in our head before we're actually listening to what other people are saying. So taking that time to make sure we're listening to understand what others need or want, providing choices, and just giving people what you and I all want. You know, we want things, or we have things that are important to us or important, you know, that we do, so our individuals have those same as well.
Well, go back, I'm gonna,
Yes.
no, you're fine. No, not on the slide.
Okay.
I'm just gonna back up just a
Yes.
little bit on something that Lindsay said initially when we were just, the video.
Oh,
sorry.
sure.
Sorry, okay, sorry, I'm staying here, because you guys don't all have to turn. Just to go back when we were talking about how many, does anybody here have 20 years or more in the field? Anybody 15 years or more in the DD field? Awesome. 10 years or more? How about 5 years or more?
You mean about in the field?
In serving folks in the DD field in any
I'm a
capacity?
special needs teacher for 14 years.
Okay.
Does that count?
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
Yeah, no, I
Yeah.
got more than 20.
Okay, awesome. So it doesn't necessarily have to be just as a DSP, but just in anything that,
I have a question.
yes.
In the field, I mean, it's kind of interpreted because my uncle's only 11 years older than me, so, and he's here, so.
Okay.
I mean, so,
So if you have a family member
So, yeah.
that maybe you were providing some service to, it could have been, or your own child, or your brother, or your nephew. It could be years and years. So I sometimes get a little intimidated. I know I said, oh, I've been in the field almost 25 years. I get a little intimidated when there's a lot of years of experience in here. When so we're all about, supporting each other and respecting, kind of what you all have learned through your experience. And, sometimes when you have been in something for a long time, like Lindsay was saying, you kind of have this set way of this is sort of how we do it, or this is how I know to do it. And sometimes you need to look at things a little differently and take a little different approach. It's not, there's more than one way to skin a cat. Is that a phrase? So, not that the folks who serve from a cat. Okay, so what we'd like to do right now, just for some of you who've been in the field for a while, this may take a little bit of, memory work to go back. But we're going to kind of talk in groups a little bit. So we need four groups. I know some of you are still eating, so if you could kind of stay sort of where you are. Maybe you 3 folks, or you 4 folks, and you 3 people can be group. Maybe you right here can be a group. You folks back there, and you folks right there. Does that make sense? Yeah. Okay. So you kind of want to, at some point, kind of turn around and talk to each other. But what I'd like you to discuss in your groups is remembering your first day on the job as a DD professional, whatever you did. And maybe talking about that, what that was like. Was it what you expected? Were you terrified? Were you like, this is what I've been meant to do, where has this been all my life? Or, oh my gosh, I don't know if I can come back tomorrow. I mean, it could be anything. But I'd like you to kind of take a few minutes and talk to each other about your first day and what you thought of it.
Well, hello. How are you? Hi. When I first started working in
You can go with that group or this group, whichever one you want.
first day on the job, one Thank you. Wow. Breeze. I mean, back the next day. But by the time I get it, parents got
Well, I just actually started out with our daughter.
Take care of them too.
She was still a lot of disabilities, and my daughter was so I was traveling down there and helped to see the work that she was on meetings and everything in the beginning. In order for me to get some, it's hard and important. Do this as a provider, now help compensate for my
The Boston Bus just pulled in for unloading.
Moved into special separate programs. I still do a lot of it. So that's how I got into it. So it's hard, difficult for me to say what my choice was because, I felt like it's just for a long time. Still hard to never quite operate. That's how I got into this.
Okay.
Our junior high played Corey. Volleyball.
Yes, it was just the 7th grade. It was a combo team from Corey, but yeah, just like
But I just,
yeah.
I love it because
Didn't see anybody I recognized, yeah.
you don't hurt them all. Because you don't think about it much in real life. I'm just so thankful there's all these people
Full in volleyball season.
it's busy. That's what they choose to do. Because I figure when she's a couple this year, you know, racing, step back and it makes you make somebody else wants more chances or, you know, do something only because shouldn't just be, you know what I'm saying? Just feel like
It's like it's running everywhere.
Here you go. Wasn't necessarily like 5 minutes.
Do stuff. So my first day was stuff to do. We do. All right.
It's all kind of wrapped up in basketball.
Everybody about done? It's not even close. Okay, how about one more minute? Then we'll wrap it up.
I was a driver for and I taught driver. So I had my first job was in a that has been at the beginning of I mean, it changed me. I was expecting to without time or whatever. And so I left crying. So I guess I was so excited as my first day. I had seen pretty much everything. They see all these kids all the place like work. So it wasn't very much that I had to see or whatever. Except it was kind of funny. I walk in and Yeah, but they did, yeah,
But
I mean,
that
they
they
live
was
on
under,
there,
so.
but,
Of course, I didn't know that at the time, but
yeah.
I usually don't scare people that quickly. I know, I was. I know. It's a lot different being managed day to day than it is being their family too. So, 7 hours a day or 1 hour a day.
For a while, I don't know.
And they also need you as family too.
Yes, and even though we try to get back right now to be, because, you're not supposed to be changed.
I guess after the 18 years of taking care of people and what I know how to do, but I did have a brother. I hate to be dead. I do have a brother who had disabilities. So I guess I
Okay. All right, everybody.
Let's bring it back. Yeah. Yeah. That's what I knew.
Dying to hear. Does anybody have any really great stories they want to share?
Which one?
I heard that Catherine has a really good one. You already heard? Lindsay said.
It was my first day. I worked at General Electric aircraft engines for 21 years, and I've been with handicapped or developmentally challenged people before, but never worked with them. So I came in early, and I was told to go stand over here with these ladies and take these O-rings off these parts because they needed to come off. Well, there was a gentleman standing there who had an impressive amount of keys on his waist. First thing I noticed was keys. And he's taking the O-rings off. And we're talking, and he looks at me and says, "I'm gonna kick your fucking ass." And I'm like, I don't even know this man, but I don't know what I did. But I had. So it turned out he was one of the clients. But I didn't know, I thought he was the janitor. But I came back the next day.
He didn't scare you away. Did he tell you that again the next day?
Oh, yeah, several more times.
Yeah. So you didn't get scared away. Oh, that's funny. Oh, God. Anybody else want to share?
I can tell you one, like when we had hired a person, and her first day, we had one of the humans that was just performing crazy in the house, and she took off running into the laundry room and was hiding behind the broom. Oh, yeah, but she had a broom, she didn't know he was one of them. And she had a broom behind the door, like, oh, and I told her, calm down, he lives here. She was like, oh, I was scared. That was so
I had a girl come and train one night, and we were talking in the kitchen, and we started to walk out of the kitchen into the living room, and one of the consumers decided to have a moment, and the industrial mop bucket, missed her by about that much. I thought, oh, she comes back, she's a keeper.
Oh, my God.
Did she come? She came back.
Oh,
and I was like, yes.
Because bees rock. I mean, to have something like that happen on your first day and then you still show up the next day. Oh, goodness. Yeah, we were kind of talking up here about, you about have to be ready for anything sometimes. But I think sometimes that is some of the fun of what we do in working with people that you just never know. Remember my first day very well. I've only worked here in my whole career, and I remember my supervisor, soon to be supervisor at the time, giving me a tour through the workshop, and I had never really had any involvement or even knew anybody with a developmental disability. And I'm walking through the workshop, and I'm just kind of like, what's going on here? Like, I didn't quite fathom, but I think I got about 50 hugs before I walked out the door. And I thought, I like these folks. They're nice. I don't know, it ended up, something just clicked, like, this is for me. And, you know, none of us are in this because we don't like people. I mean, and really, you know, if we're people person, all of us, and, you know, it really is sometimes about those relationships. You think about the people that you work with, even your coworkers, that sometimes you're at work, sometimes more than you are at home, and they become like your family, almost your work family, and the folks that you serve, they become kind of your extended, you know, kind of like your solar system of people that are around you, that, you know, that those relationships that are built on appreciating each other, bringing, you know, whoever you are, you know, the folks we serve, our coworkers, whoever, appreciating each other, showing compassion to one another and respecting one another, which is what all relationships are built on. So thank you so much for sharing that.
Some kind of use foul language.
You're just telling them what it is. That's how it happened. All right, so what we'd like to do now is just another little, it's not, everybody looks like they're mostly done eating. Okay, because we're going to get up. We're going to do kind of a little activity about, well,
I have a request.
yes.
Could you guys save these bags so we could use them for crafts?
No problem.
Yeah, if you don't want your bag, just say your bag.
All right, I got that. Thank you. Well, I kind of got off the PowerPoint here.
Oh, okay.
Sorry. So this is kind of like, you know, just to backtrack a little bit of what we were just sharing those stories about the kind of person that you want to become in your professional life. What kind of DD professional you want to, you know, are you an ally to others? You got others back, not just, you know, your coworkers, but the people that you serve, that, you know, our expectations for them are not any higher than our expectations for ourselves. You know, and do you have allies that can help you? Do you have a coworker or even someone you serve that you know that you're going to get that smile or that hug or that's the thing that keeps you going? You know, you can be each other's ally that way. So, we're going to do a little group activity.
We're gonna count off in 4, so we'll start here with you. 1, 2, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Perfect. Okay, so 1's over here, 2's here, 3's here, and 4's right back here.
The person with the marker, sorry.
Just read what's up there.
Whoever's yeah. Okay, we're going to start with group 1.
Take turns.
Anybody in group 1?
There you go.
Is this where I call it?
Oh, yeah, I told you.
Shy people. Yeah, okay. We're going to start with group 1 and have them share answer a couple of their questions with examples that they came up with. Okay, we have shy people in group 1, so I'm going to read what they came up with. So, all right, so they were representing the person served. So ways of showing praise, encouragement, and reassurance, why it's important. They put that it builds self-esteem in that individual, helps build confidence, and can help with positive behaviors. So those were some reasons why it's important. Then what would it look like in real life? Actually, they came up with quite a few. Happy faces, feeling comfortable, high fives or fist bumps, talking to somebody at eye level, so not being over them. Positive rewards such as walking with them, a game, quality one-on-one time, and then maybe showing alternative ways to complete a task. They were having a hard time coming up with some real-life personal examples. This lady here gave an example of with her son, maybe sometimes showing him a different way to accomplish a goal. So maybe he's not doing something the right way, but instead of just saying,
you're wrong, you know, you're not doing it the correct way. Here, you know, actually sitting down with the person and showing them a different way to complete something. So, good job, group number one.
Good job. Okay. Group number 2. Yeah. Oh, that's definitely worth a clap. Woohoo. Group number 2, you're the coworker. Why is it important to show praise, encouragement, and reassurance?
Well, because everybody can work together as a team. We all have the same issues. We're all in the same boat, and it's just easier if you can go to someone with the same issues and problems and collaborate and try to figure it out together.
Sure. You guys kind of have to have that trust
Yes,
among one another,
absolutely.
right?
What's the second one?
No, no, that's the third one, isn't it?
Nope.
What would it look like in real life?
Oh, I'm sorry.
Again, just keeping everyone on the same page, being backup for your coworkers, you know, just knowing that you have that reassurance and that you do have someone that can back you up. And it's just, it's good to know that you have that, because without that, you're just kind of a floating boat, or not. The last one, praising communication. Thank you for keeping me in the loop, just telling people, just honestly just voicing it, you know what I mean? Thank you, I appreciate you. Just all of those words of encouragement. Leaving notes, like dividing the workload. If you have one of your coworkers who, you know, is not good at filing, like she has stacks, I mean, just help her, you know what I mean? Because we all can't do that, right, Carol? And just support for coworkers who are having a bad day. We all have a family life, we all have stuff going on, so, you know, just a little pat on the back.
Yep. Good job.
Awesome.
Very
Good
nice.
job. Good job.
Woohoo. Okay, group number 3, you are a supervisor.
Okay, why it's important? It's important for supervisors to let their staff know that they're appreciated, that we recognize the work that you're doing. It's a morale booster for DSPs. And if your supervisor is showing you appreciation, more than likely you're gonna wanna work and you're gonna wanna do a good quality job of working. Sometimes it's just nice to have that validation that even though we're in this field, we're still humans too, and we still have, you know, like I said, outside issues that you brought up. So it's just nice to feel appreciated from your supervisors. For what it would look like, we came up with simple thank yous, showing, you know, being your valued, personal touch. I forgot what we said for that. It's like an individualized, like why I'm thankful for you. And for real life situations, one of the individuals said, or one of our staff said, takes time to listen. So maybe your supervisor can pull you off to the side and really sit down with you and give you that one-on-one time, which is not often in this field. Thank you lunches, you know, just simply saying you have my back. Again, thank you notes. With this day and age texting, a simple, hey, thanks for, you know, picking so-and-so up from Miramar because they were sick or whatever. Small gifts, everyone loves food and apparently donuts in our group. So basically, everybody at every level wants to feel appreciated.
Awesome. Yeah, even supervisors need to feel appreciated sometimes, don't they? Yeah. Because you guys are people too, like you said. Okay. Group number 4, you are an organization.
Yes, this is another provider. Number one, why it's important is trust, and can I say something on that trust? You know, with the organization, you know, with the supervisor, the co-worker, and the person first, you get that trust from the organization and each person can trust. Communication, building a relationship, and better care. Number 2, what would it look like in real life? Better served, happier, and healthy relationship. And number 3, the examples, team meetings, open houses, and combining organizations.
It's really everybody wins when, you know, my role at the county board, I know some your role too, Jana, we're out with other agencies a lot. And, you know, those relationships between, you know, who's going to suffer if we're not able to work as a team with other agencies and people. It's the people we serve that are really going to suffer. And when you have dividing lines and people don't want to compromise and, you know, that kind of stuff, that the people we serve are the ones who, who don't lose in those tug of wars sometimes. So, good job.
Yes, good job, everybody. So did you guys notice, just kind of a wrap up on this, that there was a lot of common themes, like from poster to poster? So it's really, it doesn't matter if you're the individual served or you're a coworker or you're a provider agency. It's a lot of the same things we're talking about are important to everybody, and that's why praise, encouragement, and reassurance at all those levels are important. So, but yes, it's all people. Exactly. All right. So one of the key concepts of Good Life, and which is a positive culture initiative, is what Good Life is. One of the key concepts is helping others thrive. We talked about some ways in all the groups that really all of those things that we mentioned help people thrive. There's been a lot of research on quality of life, and there's been surveys that have been done to show, okay, what are the top 5 important aspects, the top 5 most important that lead to quality of life for somebody. So those top 5 are emotional well-being, so things like self-worth, self-esteem, control, identity, satisfaction. The second most important is relationships, so family, friends, supports, emotional, physical, and financial relationships. The third is material well-being, so things that we work for, to have a roof over our heads, to have a car to go to work, to have those material things. The fourth most important aspect for quality of life is self-determination, which is autonomy, personal control, choices, desires, independence. Those are examples. And then the fifth most important was personal development. So those things like education, achievements, performance, success, those types of things. So when these quality of life areas that I just talked about, when those are being met for people, that's when people are thriving. That's when people are moving forward, moving in a positive direction. And the most important thing, I'll go to this one a little bit, is the most important thing of all of this, the magic ingredient it's called, is the positive relationships. Because, and there's just some definitions for you. I think most of you know what kindness is, compassion. Empathy is very important with the people that we work with. It's easy to sit there and say, well, he knows better than that. He knows he should have done that. Well, we need to be empathetic and realize, this person's had a lot of trauma in their life. So that might be why he's saying what he's saying or acting like he's acting. So, and then respect. But those are the four aspects or that make up positive relationships. So really, don't we all want these things that we just went over? We all want emotional well-being. We all want the relationships, the material well-being. We all want those things. The individuals we serve included. So the most important thing to remember is to try and have those positive relationships, even when, and work on those throughout your life, whether it's at work, at home. That's key, though. It's really key. And it's also key to, we all have our bad days, but when we do clock in for the day, to kind of leave our baggage at home and really work hard to maintain those positive relationships with the people that we serve, because they deserve it, just like the rest of us deserve it. So, okay, we talked a little bit about the mental models. Lindsay touched on that earlier, and that was kind of missing. I mean, it was good DD people, but kind of in a bad model of control. The power over, that kind of thing. So it's kind of just turning around the thinking and really trying to hone in on positive relationships, because if you have those, it can help with so many other things. Somebody can be emotionally a wreck, but if you have a positive relationship with that person already, you're going to help them get through it. That's whether it's your coworker, an individual you work with, your supervisor. It really is everything encompassing. So try and think of that when you think back about things we've talked about today, not just with your job, but just with your relationships outside of work as well. Because really this ties into all of that. It really does. So we've got, I think, something we want to show.
You can do it with
Video?
the mouse there.
So there's just a cute clip about relationships. All right. So this is another concept of good life is hats of support. So we want to show you a little video here. And hopefully it works.
Welcome to the Good Life Network, where we encourage positive, intentional interactions in the workplace. The first step is awareness, and that brings us to the 4 hats of service. See if you recognize any of these workplace actions. A red hat professional is seen as forceful, controlling, and coercive. They may use a loud voice, threatening tone, point fingers, or may be seen as a workplace bully. A black hat professional is seen as critical, sarcastic, and pessimistic. They tend to focus on problems and only see the failure or potential failure in any situation. A white hat professional is seen as indifferent, tuned out, or disengaged. For them, work is just about a paycheck, and they just put in time, occupy space, and their work goal is retirement. They tend to be noticed as late from breaks and late to arrive at work, and can be seen spending most of their time on their phone or tablet. A green hat professional is seen as supportive, positive, helpful, and appreciative. They can be seen and heard asking thoughtful questions, searching for solutions, and focusing on possibilities for success. A green hat professional is a fully engaged team member and lifts everyone around by using praise, giving thanks, and encouraging others to do their best. Great customer service only comes from green hat employees. Red, black, white, or green, which hat will you wear? Being a green hat isn't always easy, but it's the right thing to do. Thanks for joining us at the Good Life Network. We hope to see you next time as we continue the journey.
We just hit the escape button.
Sure.
Okay, so that, I don't know, have any of you ever seen that video before?
Kermit the Frog said it the best.
Kermit the Frog said it the best. Do you want to recite how
It's
Kermit?
not easy being
There you go.
That's good.
That is really good. When we went through the Good Life, we kind of rolled this out. That was our first thing we rolled out, was the hats of support. And at first, you know, it was like, oh, what hat are they wearing? You're wearing a black hat, or you're wearing a green hat. And, you know, the more I thought about it, it's not really what hat other people are wearing, it's what hat you're wearing. You know, taking the time to self-assess and think, you know, I am being pretty negative, you know, I just blew this person off. Let me switch my hat and maybe I can help somebody else switch their hat. So, you know, taking that time to recognize and realize that, yeah, we all have a hard job. You know, it can be very challenging at times, it can be very frustrating, and there's times you might want to give up. But, you know, taking the time to step back and look at yourself, you know, you are a good person. Maybe I just need to do this to maybe make myself have a better day. Or maybe I see my coworker, you know, they seem really sad today, so I'm going to go over and support them and, you know, ask them if they want to talk and maybe help them become in a better mood. So just taking the time to realize that, not really necessarily point out what hat other people are wearing, because then you're kind of not wearing the green hat. So it's just a nice way to self-assess and think about how you can do things differently, or how supporting our individuals, you know, they want to be around happy people, and
Don't we all?
yes, we all want to be around happy people. So that's just a nice little video. So now just to wrap up what we went over all today, No,
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. We have little
Yep.
toolboxes, allied toolboxes to pass out. You're welcome.
Yeah, just real briefly. So they know what's in there. Okay. All right, so inside here is a couple of different things, actually more than a couple. There's a couple things that are just kind of like, you know, a little inspirational, kind of when you're having a super bad day. You need a little, like I have this very one sitting right by my phone. And when I'm on taking a call and it's a really difficult situation and it says, no single act of love will be lost, no generous effort is meaningless, no painful endurance is wasted, what you do matters. And sometimes when you're having a really crappy day, sometimes you need that in front of your face. So there's just stuff like that in there. There's also a little recipe card, which has the must-haves listed. Like these are kind of things that people like must have maybe to have a good day, have a good life. Time, space, positive tone and words, being empathetic with others, and being connected to others. You know, those are things that all of us want. There's also a little brochure in here called The Threshold of Work. Talks a little bit more about that mental model that we were talking about previously, about kind of the old way of thinking, new way of thinking. And this is sort of just kind of like it opens like a door. Like when you walk in, the threshold of your business, office, job, home, whatever, that baggage is left where it's at and you flip your green hat on and you're on the clock. So just kind of a little reminder there. And also there's a couple little cards in here. We talked about, a lot of these posters kind of talked about the importance of showing people you care, you appreciate them, what they're doing, and that you got their back. These are little cards that you can use to, and that, I guess this is kind of our challenge to you, that maybe you could maybe think about some people in your life, whether it's a coworker, your supervisor, your kid, your spouse, a person you serve, whatever, that says, I appreciate whoever, you put their name in, because, and you just write a little thing about why you appreciate them. Or, I think you're awesome because. You can just leave it for them. Stick it in their mailbox, put it in their room, you know, whatever. So just sometimes having these little things that make it super easy for us not to forget to show appreciation to others, because we know how that feels. And, you know, other people need to hear it too. Being on the receiving end of those, you might have just made somebody's day, somebody's week, who knows?
Yeah.
So it can be a really positive thing, so
Very much so. Especially when it's unexpected.
yeah.
People don't expect like that. Oh, I didn't realize no one noticed I did that. Oh, that feels awesome, you know? And that kind of perks you up and like you say, you had a really bad day. And then on the actual, there's a, bless you, couple of pins. One is for you, who you are makes a difference, and one is for you to give. Somebody you know that you'd like to maybe let them know that they're pretty awesome. You can share that pin with them. That's it.
Any questions? No? All right, well, thank you everyone.
Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.